I wanted to take this boring living room and turn it into a whole entertainment center or entertainment wall. I added ceiling speakers, a 2x4 framed wall, electrical outlets, switches, sconce lighting. I did custom cabinets, custom countertop, floating shelves, shiplap, and a few other things. If you want to see the full build, stay tuned. Before building the actual entertainment center, I wanted to add in some ceiling speakers. I've always wanted surround sound, especially after watching the movie Twister back in '99 at my friend Ben's house, who had surround sound. I've always wanted to have some in my own house. I went with some Yamaha 12-inch ceiling speakers for this. This probably was the most intimidating part of the whole build, was sawing out 4 12-inch holes in the ceiling, knowing that if I screwed it up, I would have to patch a 12-inch hole. Nobody likes doing drywall work. Even drywall guys don't like doing drywall work. Now, the reason why I am drilling and dropping these speaker wires down from the ceiling there instead of going behind the drywall is I'll be building a 2x4 wall on top of the existing drywall, and that's going to have a lot of benefits in the end, as you will see. So I'm going to be building a 2x4 frame around the TV on top of the existing drywall. A couple of reasons for that. I wanted this room to remain functional throughout the build. The second reason being that there's going to be a lot of electrical running behind the whole entertainment center. So I'm going to have speaker wires, I'm going to have sconce lighting and a switch. I'm going to have an outlet behind the TV, an outlet underneath the TV in the media cabinet. So there's just going to be a lot of holes that need to be drilled, and I just didn't want to deal with this exterior wall with the insulation and the vapor barrier and drilling a bunch of holes and lowering the integrity of that wall. So I decided to build this 2x4 frame wall in place around the TV, as you can see. I'm going to add a PVC pipe here, and this is going to act as a pass-through for the cables to route from the back of the TV to the media center below. I'm going to hold in this PVC pipe with glue and a screw, making sure the screw doesn't penetrate to the inside of the pipe. So now I'm just going to be roughing in the electrical for the speaker wire, as well as the outlets, the sconce lighting, and everything else that needs to be done for electrical. So as you can see, I have to drill quite a few holes to route my electrical through all the studs. So I'm really happy I went with the exposed 2x4 frame wall. As you can see, this process is a lot easier than having to deal with all the insulation, vapor barrier, and drywall that would have to be removed. So on the side of the wall here, I am installing a switch, and this is going to control the sconce lights that will go above the floating shelves on both sides of the TV. So I'm installing this junction box. This is going to connect the 2 sconce lights together. We're going to make a cutout on the back of the cabinet so this junction box remains accessible for any future maintenance or servicing. So now the electrical's all roughed in for the most part, besides the sconce lights themselves. So I just have some Romex running up the 2x4s, and I will determine the precise location of those a little bit later. But for the most part, it's all roughed in, ready to go for the next step. So I'm going to start off the cabinet making process by building 4-inch risers that the cabinets will sit on top of. So now you can see the pass-through in place. I have some 2-inch furniture grommets that are going to help with the transition and look of feeding the speaker wire through the back of the cabinet. So I'm going to be adding some box extenders to the outlet, and that's just going to pull the receptacles forward and make them flush with the back panel of the cabinet. So I'm making this giant face frame. It's just going to be one unit. I could have done one for each cabinet, so doing 3 total and blending them together. Instead, I decided to make this probably harder on myself and just do one full one across with no seams. So that was my big thing, was no seams. So we'll see how it turns out. Look at that. So once this is all sanded down, we primed and painted this. We did not get footage of it actually being painted, but we did get it primed. So here it is installed on the cabinets themselves, and we're just going to brad nail those into the frame. So next we're going to be building the countertop. It's going to be one thick daddy over here. It's going to be built out of 2 pieces of 3/4 inch plywood sandwiched together with some glue to make a full 1.5 inch thick slab. Now, was this really necessary to do a full 1.5 inch thick slab? Probably not. Am I going to be the only one who notices it? Yes. Do I make things harder on myself? Yes, I surely do. Did it result in a better product? I don't know. Hopefully. So now we're going to glue these 2 pieces together to make the full 1.5 inch thick slab. So now that it's all glued up, I can cut off the excess here. And this was no easy feat trying to get a straight edge all the way across and get that nice clean cut. So I'm mitering the long edge here at 45 so I can connect the front of my countertop. This is the same process as I did, is making a nice thick front edge of the countertop by gluing 2 pieces of 3/4 inch plywood together. Same thing here, I'm going to miter this front edge to be able to connect it to the countertop. So I'm going to glue and brad nail the front to the countertop and then round over that sharp edge with a round over bit. So now just going to stain and seal this, so going with a dark walnut for the stain and then polyurethane for the clear coat. Now I really wanted this finish to look really nice, so in between each clear coat I sanded it down lightly to knock off any nibs, and that just gave it a really nice finish in the end. Both our dogs, Millie and Willie, just wanted us to stop working and play ball. We're going to install these light boxes and then move on to making the back of this look good with some shiplap. So first I'm going to be installing this 1/2 inch OSB that's going to be a backer for the shiplap to be able to nail to. So we're installing the drawer boxes. Now I made a mistake on this where I made the drawer boxes too wide. You can see I had to notch out a little bit of the frame with a multi-tool to fit the hardware or the drawer slides in there. But the face frames will cover it up, so it's a mistake, but it should be okay all in the end. So after the shaker style drawer fronts were installed, we're going to move on to the two doors in the middle, and I'm doing a little bit of a different design. It's still going to be kind of a shaker style, but the center is going to be made of metal instead of a classic wood backing.